Let's discuss.
Hey everyone, it's Rachel back again with another video, not a reaction video this time. I listened to this album while I was sick with COVID, and I've listened to it many times since then, and during my isolation and stuff I was listening to it, so I couldn't do a reaction video for any of it other than the singles that I had on the channel, but I said I would do a review video. I've been meaning to get to this video for a while. I've just also been trying to get to the new music, which is also impossible. But anyway, so Moodring, phenomenal band. I actually got sick with COVID shortly after I saw them live, which was the week of the release, or the week before, something like that. So very close to that release time when all of this happened, and I've been wanting to make this review video, so now I'll talk a little bit about my thoughts on the album and such. Obviously, with it having been such a big release on my radar of my announced albums and stuff, I wanted to make a video to give my thoughts. So that is what I will be doing in this video. I apologize for not being able to hold out until I was better and make a full reaction for the album, but you know, things happen. So I've been doing a lot of revisiting with this album. It's a release I'm very happy with. I think that they did a good job of sort of covering a different range of their style with these songs, like the singles Disintegrate and Constrict. Those are two completely different sounds, I feel like, for, you know, when you're looking for something. I don't think anything on the album is quite like Disintegrate, and I love that having that intro track, it goes straight into my favorite song on the album. Probably one of my, it's so hard for me to tell whether that track or Show Me the Real You is my favorite, but then below that there are a ton of songs off of this album that I have been loving, but having How to Leave Painlessly go into Disintegrate, I really liked that, and then also lyrically, Foreign Love, which is the closer, it's Xeno, Foreign Love is the song. At the end there, when it says, now I see how to leave painlessly, I love that, and its placement of it, like that being the closer and it referencing the title of the intro track, which doesn't have any lyrics. Just for somebody like me, I love that sort of stuff, which I've talked about with releases like Era and such, I think, where they don't have something that's the same as that, but I feel like it's the same idea or the same energy. So for me, I love stuff like that. Then, so you open up with those two singles, Disintegrate, Constrict, both extremely strong, different styles. Constrict, when it gets to that breakdown, which was an excellent song live, by the way. But I'm pretty sure Disintegrate would be too. I'd love to see that one day, but it made sense to me not being on the set list with Moodring being an opener, which I get that they're a newer band and stuff, but it definitely felt wrong to have them be an opener. But anyway, Constrict having that heaviness to it, but always with Moodring getting that sort of airy, open, light sound. Even in their heavier tracks, I'm always looking to get that, and I feel like that's always been the case. Then going into Red Light Gossip, that is probably between Red Light Gossip, Peel, and Foreign Love, those are three tracks I think are tied for my favorite with non-singles, but then really all the rest are pretty high up there for me, other than, I think the title track is probably the least for me, but not in a way where I don't enjoy it or where I skip it every time it comes on or anything, especially with what I've learned about the heavy meaning of that track. And I don't want to get too far into that aspect of it because I want to talk more about the music, but Uncertain Memory, some of y'all who are familiar with the channel and the Discord server, you will know who she is, but she was the one that let me know that Stargazer is like a condition that a snake has towards the end of its life, where it's always looking up and such, and with the album art being Hunter's snake who passed away and such, it's just got a very heavy meaning. And it makes sense to be the title track, I think, of this album in that sense. When I didn't know that, and I had just heard it as the title track, and I had no idea really what Stargazer meant other than thinking it was like literally someone who is stargazing. When I didn't know that, I was like, interesting choice for, like, you know, the album, the title track and such, but with that context, it made much more sense to me. But what I'm trying to say in a very long-winded way is that all of the non-singles were really strong. Red Like Gossip had that little bit of attitude and a mix of like this sort of groove and slow burn that you're getting in some of these songs, along with like the heaviness and the blend into some... It blends into, like, I guess more of that constrict sound for Moodring, but then, like, going into a track like Peel, it's totally different, and the melodies in those songs, especially the chorus, are just very shoegazy, I guess, going in that sort of direction. So, while all of the album is very Moodring, I feel like in the directions it does go, it sort of, you know, plays between the styles there, and I really like that. Like, I'm going from Peel into Stargazer, which is a very, like, a slower track. It's that emotional feel, like I was just talking about the meaning behind the actual word. And then going from that into Now I Kill Everything, which has, that for sure has that groove. Like, when I think of that very first verse, I can hear the way those instrumentals sound and have that attitude that I'm talking about. So I guess really going between those two. But then you look at like the chorus on Head in the Clouds. I don't know. It's just got a lot of Moodring all over all these tracks, while it feeling completely, like when you listen through Show Me the Real You, it doesn't feel quite as, I guess, intentional as Stargazer does to me, if that makes sense. Like, while these songs are different in the ways that I'm explaining, it feels very cohesive at the same time. For In Love closing with the chorus, like, I don't know what it is about that. That's probably my favorite chorus on this album, is the For In Love chorus. The way that it's belted out there with the title of the song, the For In Love part, drawn out sort of on love, the vocal delivery all together. I just love that. But really those last three tracks, Head in the Clouds, Novocaine Bones, and then Xeno, For In Love, that combination right there really grabbed me, and I felt like was a strong closing to this album, kind of, because there's not really, and I'm not saying this in a way where there's a spot that really lost me at all. There's not a track on here that I skip, other than I don't always do How to Leave Painlessly with Disintegrate, but other than that, I don't really skip much on this album, nothing. So for me, I think my standout tracks, having three that I'm doing a ton of revisiting right in a row at the end, that was really strong for me in terms of the order of the album, because it sort of solidified my this is new but really awesome and very Moodring that I had throughout the album. So high expectations going into this, and I felt like they were met. This is what I had wanted from Moodring. So I've mentioned a number of times, Fit for an Autopsy is very solidly at my number one spot. Grayscale Season, with how unique and the weird, like, blended elements of sort of the theatrical clean vocals versus the heavier parts that are almost like, I don't know, they go into almost like a deathcore as well. It's just very interesting blend. That stuff is at the top of my list, but Moodring in my top 5 right now for sure. So this is up there without doing some of the, you know, Fit for an Autopsy. That's they're incredible. They are some of the only bands that I really expect to give 10 out of 10 to this year, which I will do my end of the year ratings at the end of the year, of course. But that's just like sort of bar for me, and for my taste and such, mind you. Obviously, that's not the decision or anything, but for my taste and my ratings, my lists and such, that's like bar for me. So for this being up there without really doing some of those things and having its own style, for sure. Moodring is doing a style that's a bit different. Production, by the way, I really like, especially for the style of vocals. A lot of the choruses, because a lot of these songs, like what I kept bringing up about them were the choruses. It's an excellent job of writing choruses in these non-singles, especially, like For In Love, I think Novocaine Bones, Head in the Clouds, those all have choruses where you can hear the title or you read the song name and it comes to mind really easily, that the chorus of that song, and I think that's strong. Whereas with Peel, I can hear it's the same, like, I don't think of the Peel Me Back part necessarily. I think that regardless of what the song was called, that would be one that's very easily comes to mind, because I think in discussing this and talking about, like, oh, all of my favorite choruses on this album, obviously a few are going to surface and all of them can't at the same time. So choruses like Disintegrate, Red Like Gossip, Peel, Foreign Love, those are big for me, especially the last 3 tracks, as I mentioned too. So now, before I'm talking in circles and such, I'm going to cut it off here because, as I said, I will keep talking in circles, but I loved this. Saw Moodring live, as I had mentioned, and they were outstanding. Definitely a band that should be not an opener extremely soon, I'm sure. So I will link all of their social media, their merch, support links will all be in the description of this video. Make sure you go and check it out if you haven't. Follow them on social media if you enjoy this album and haven't done that yet, that sort of thing. They are awesome. So other than that, you can also find my link tree in the description. That will have the invite for the Discord server as always. I talk about it in every single video. It's got a bunch of my favorite people in there. We've got music related conversation completely unrelated to music as well. So if you're interested in coming to join, check out the community. That will be there, as well as my Instagram profile link, which I do post all music related content on Instagram, whether it be my chart on Friday of what I've listened to the most over the course of the week, or my merch collection, which I usually post once or twice. I've got a never ending merch collection: flags, t-shirts, vinyl, sweatshirts, all sorts of stuff. So I'm posting that, sometimes about shows if I've been to a show recently and have pictures or videos to share from that. You get the idea. So if that interests you at all, my handle on there is Rachel Reacts, just like my YouTube channel, but again, that will be in the link tree in the description. As always, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it.